Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will dive into the latest twists and turns unfolding in Port Charles, where secrets simmer and alliances shift in unexpected ways. In the heart of the Quartermain mansion, tensions are rising as Jason Morgan confronts Anna Devane about her sudden reversal on a critical mission. Originally hesitant, Anna now urges Jason to track down Britt Westburn, prompting him to demand full transparency. We can imagine Jason's steely gaze piercing through the room, his years of experience as a mob enforcer making him adept at spotting half-truths. Anna, ever the strategist, faces a dilemma, revealing too much could land her in hot water with charges of treason, especially tied to Josslyn Jack's covert role with the WSB and her ongoing assignment. To add depth to this intrigue, perhaps Anna hints at intercepted communications from shadowy international contacts, suggesting Dalmatia as the prime location for Britt's hideout. This revelation might stem from Anna's own network of spies, built over decades in the espionage world, where old favors and hidden alliances come into play. Jason, piecing together the puzzle, realizes his path leads straight to the luxurious Five Poppies resort, of sprawling coastal haven, known for its opulent villas and private beaches, perfect for clandestine operations. Meanwhile, Vaughn and Josslyn Jacks touch down at the same destination, embarking on their pretend honeymoon as a cover for Josslyn's high-stakes search. The resort's vibrant atmosphere, with its palm-fringed pools and gourmet dining, contrasts sharply with the danger lurking beneath. In a nail-biting moment, Britt stands mere feet away from Josslyn, her silhouette framed by the tropical sunset. But Pascal, Britt's enigmatic handler with the mysterious past and underground dealing schooled, whisk her off to a hidden lab just in time, preventing a direct confrontation. This near-miss adds layers of suspense, as Josslyn's undercover skills, honed from her adventurous spirit, are put to the test in this exotic locale. Shifting back to the bustling streets of Port Charles, Nina Reeves launches into a subtle interrogation of Ava Jerum's romantic entanglements, her journalistic instincts flaring at the scent of potential scandal. Nina, with her sharp wit and history of navigating high society drama, might probe delicately over a casual coffee at the Metro Court, drawing on their complicated friendship laced with past betrayals. Ava, exuding her trademark confidence, reassures Nina that she's firmly in control, especially given Cody Bell's notorious reputation for charming his way into trouble. Cody's rugged charm and stable hand background make him an unlikely, but intriguing match for Ava's sophisticated world. Yet Nina worries this liaison could explode into tabloid fodder, perhaps involving leaked photos or whispered rumors at gallery openings. Adding a fresh twist, imagine Nina uncovering a cryptic text message on Ava's phone, hinting at late-night rendezvous that blur the lines between passion and manipulation. Tracy Quartermain, the no-nonsense matriarch with a penchant for cutting remarks, expresses her outright dismay at Cody's involvement with Ava. In a stern lecture delivered in a Quartermain stables, surrounded by the scent of hay and horse tack, Tracy might draw parallels to past family scandals, urging Cody to reconsider. Will Cody maintain his silence on his calculated seduction tactics, perhaps motivated by hidden agendas like financial gain or revenge, or will he confide in Tracy, pulling her into his web of schemes? This dynamic explores themes of loyalty and deception, enriching the Quartermain legacy of intricate family politics. Over at another corner of town, Carly Spencer steps in to offer solace to Jack Brennan following a vulnerable confession. The GH writers build this up as a monumental reveal, heightening the drama with tense music cues and close-up shots. But it turns out to be something relatively tamame. Brennan admits to a minor professional misstep, or a lingering doubt about his career path. Carly, with her resilient personality forged through countless crises, reassures him with her trademark blend of toughness and empathy, perhaps sharing a story from her own turbulent past involving hotel management woes or family feuds. Importantly, Brennan keeps mum about his bold move to enlist Josslyn in the WSB, or her fabricated alibi, for her current whereabouts, preserving the secrecy that could unravel multiple lives. This interaction highlights Carly's role as a pillar of support, while subtly underscoring Brennan's layered character, a man of authority with hidden vulnerabilities, possibly influenced by his Australian roots and intelligence background. In a more domestic drama, Alexis Davis picks up on her daughter Molly Lansing Davis's subtle endorsement of Drew Kane's potential relocation to Washington, D.C. during a heartfelt conversation in Alexis's cozy law office. Stacked with legal tomes and case files, Molly might confess the mixed emotions, the allure of distance providing breathing room from complicated family ties, yet the heartache of Scout Kane being uprooted from her familiar Port Charles roots. Scout, the bright-eyed child caught in the crossfire, represents innocence amid adult conflicts, with details like her favorite playground or school friends adding emotional weight. Alexis, drawing on her legal expertise and maternal protectiveness, hopes Monica Quartermain's influence perhaps through a family intervention at the hospital boardroom can sway Drew. But if Drew digs in his heels, envisioning a new life in the nation's capital with political ambitions, Alexis contemplates bolder steps. This could escalate into a full-blown custody battle, with Alexis filing motions citing Scout's stability needs, potentially involving expert witnesses on child psychology, or even dredging up Drew's past incarceration as leverage. Such drama amplifies the stakes, exploring how ambition clashes with parental responsibilities in the tight-knit world of Port Charles. Finally, in Laura Collins's mayoral office, adorned with civic memorabilia and portraits of past leaders, she intervenes after a heated clash between Dante Falconeri and Liesl Obrecht, urging Dante to step out for fresh air. A stroll through the nearby park. With its blooming gardens, Laura aims to de-escalate the volatility. Liesl, with her dramatic flair and German accent echoing through the room, expresses gratitude for Laura's defense, but Laura swiftly clarifies her stance. This meeting, convened under the guise of mediation, tests Liesl's ability to prioritize Rocco Falconeri's well-being over her own vendettas. Rocco, the young boy at the center, evokes sympathy with imagined scenes of him playing soccer or drawing family pictures, underscoring the human cost of these disputes. Lulu Spencer lends her support to Laura, her voice steady despite her own health struggles, while Liesl counters that differing views on best interests don't equate to wrongdoing. Laura, embodying fairness with her history as a community leader, challenges Liesl to demonstrate genuine commitment, perhaps through supervised visits or counseling sessions. As ABC General Hospital spoilers hint, Liesl's propensity for chaos could ignite further turmoil, weaving in elements like unexpected alliances or shocking revelations that keep viewers on the edge. Next, we will explore the heated debate among fans about whether Willow Tate has surpassed her late sister Nell Benson in terms of sheer awfulness. As Willow's recent spiral raises eyebrows across Port Charles, the buzz in the General Hospital fandom is reaching a fever pitch, with viewers passionately debating if Willow Tate's current downward trajectory makes her even more detestable than her infamous twin, Nell Benson. Even though Nell met her tragic end years ago, her shadow looms large over the canvas of Port Charles, a reminder of the chaos she unleashed during her turbulent time on the show. Fans recall with vivid clarity how Nell's manipulative schemes knew no bounds, from her chilling plot to have Carly Spencer committed to the notorious Ferncliff Asylum under false pretenses, to the heart-wrenching deception where she convinced Michael Corinthos that their infant son, Wiley, had perished in a devastating accident. These weren't just isolated incidents, they formed the backbone of Nell's reign of terror, painting her as a mastermind of malice who thrived on sowing discord and pain. To flesh out this dark legacy, imagine Nell's twisted motivations rooted in a fractured childhood, perhaps involving abandoned dreams of a normal life that fueled her vendettas against the Corinthos family, complete with forged documents and secret alliances that kept her one step ahead of exposure. Her actions disrupted weddings, shattered families, and even led to explosive courtroom battles, leaving scars that still influence dynamics today. Yet, as the show delved deeper into Nell's psyche, it became clear she was crafted as the ultimate antagonist, a force of unrepentant evil designed to test the hero's resilience in the high-stakes world of soap opera drama. In stark contrast, Willow Tate emerges as a character from a different mold, one that started with promise but has veered into troubling territory, prompting comparisons that highlight their distinct brands of villainy. While Nell's overt wickedness made her a straightforward foe, Willow's missteps unfold in a more insidious, everyday manner, blending self-righteousness with subtle cruelty. The writers have positioned Willow not as a cartoonish villain, but as a flawed individual, whose choices erode her once pristine image layer by layer. For instance, envision Willow's evolution from a wide-eyed teacher to a woman entangled in webs of deceit, influenced by her hidden family ties and health battles that added vulnerability to her arc. This complexity makes her descent all the more compelling, as it forces audiences to question if her relatable flaws actually amplify her harmfulness, compared to Nell's more theatrical malevolence. Adding a fresh dimension, perhaps Willow's internal monologues, revealed through confessional scenes at the hospital chapel, expose her growing detachment from empathy, where she rationalizes her behaviors as necessary survival tactics in the cutthroat environment of Port Charles elite circles. Delving deeper, Willow's behavior often falls short of Nell's extreme atrocities, but her persistent air of superiority might tip the scales, making her insufferable in ways that linger long after the episode ends. Unlike Nell, who embraced her darkness without apology, Willow clings to a facade of victimhood, positioning herself on an unearned pedestal of moral authority. Despite a trail of questionable decisions, this hypocrisy shines through in her willingness to overlook grave injustices, as if her personal pain grants her a free pass. Picture Willow in quiet moments of reflection at her cozy home, surrounded by family photos that mock her crumbling ethics, where she convinces herself that her ends justify any means. To expand on this, invent a scenario where Willow journals her thoughts, unwittingly documenting her slide into amorality, entries that could later surface as damning evidence in a future storyline, heightening the tension around her character's unraveling. A prime example of Willow's troubling mindset surfaces in her tacit approval of Drew Kane's ruthless blackmail scheme against Portia Robinson, all in service of framing Michael as an unstable drug user to sway custody outcomes. Willow's determination to reclaim her children overrides any sense of fairness, viewing Drew's tactics as mere necessities rather than ethical breaches. This blind spot ignores the profound suffering inflicted on Portia, a dedicated doctor whose professional reputation hangs in the balance, or the devastating impact on Michael, the devoted father now painted as unfit. Enriching this plot point, consider how Willow might have overheard hushed conversations at the hospital cafeteria, piecing together Drew's plan and choosing silence, perhaps even offering subtle encouragement during a private meeting at the park, where autumn leaves swirl around them like symbols of falling integrity. Her stance reveals a cold pragmatism, prioritizing her family unit over broader principles of justice, which contrasts sharply with Nell's more impulsive, rage-fueled plots, but arguably inflicts a slower, more corrosive damage on relationships. Compounding her offenses, Willow took her vendetta to alarming lengths by essentially stalking Daisy Gilmore, escalating a personal grudge into a perceived life-threatening ordeal that justified extreme measures. In a bid to teach Michael a harsh lesson about parental separation, she orchestrated Sasha Gilmore Corbin's departure from town with Michael's daughter, Amelia, turning a child's well-being into a bargaining chip for emotional leverage. This maneuver, executed with calculated precision, echoes the manipulative essence of Port Charles' underbelly, where custody wars often spill into public spectacles. To add inventive flair, imagine Willow coordinating this via encrypted messages on a burner phone, drawing on skills picked up from her brush with underground elements during her cancer storyline, all while maintaining a composed exterior at family gatherings. Such actions not only highlight her growing ruthlessness, but also underscore the ripple effects, like Sasha's internal conflict over aiding Willow, potentially straining her own budding romances and friendships in town. On top of these machinations, Willow's infidelity and the emotional wreckage she inflicted on Michael stand as pillars of her controversial arc, forcing him through waves of betrayal and heartache that reshaped their once solid marriage. From secret rendezvous that shattered trust to the lingering fallout of confessions, under the dim lights of their shared home, Willow's choices have accumulated like storm clouds, eroding the foundation of what was meant to be a redemptive love story. Inventing a new layer. Perhaps Willow's affair was complicated by anonymous letters hinting at deeper conspiracies, pulling Michael into a web of doubt that extended beyond their bedroom, to affect his business dealings at Aurora Media, amplifying the personal toll. Ultimately, while Nell's unhinged madness set a high bar for villainy, Willow's pretense of goodness amid her escalating misdeeds might render her the more insidious figure, as she deceives not just others, but herself about her true nature. Nell owned her chaos, reveling in it like a storm that passes violently, but honestly, whereas Willow's self-delusion cloaks her actions in a veneer of righteousness, potentially making her betrayals cut deeper in the long run. To enhance this comparison, envision fan forums lighting up with polls and theories, some suggesting Willow's arc draws from real-life psychological profiles of denial, adding a meta-commentary to the show's narrative depth. Next, we will delve into the baffling intricacies of Jen Sidwell's vendetta against Sonny Corinthos, where the villain's schemes twist in ways that leave even the sharpest viewers scratching their heads in confusion. The saga surrounding Jen Sidwell's elaborate machinations targeting Sonny Corinthos has fans buzzing with bewilderment, as his strategies appear more like a tangled web of contradictions than a coherent master plan. From a supposed international criminal mastermind, portrayed as a slick operator with a global reach, Sidwell's moves often defy logical progression, prompting endless debates in online forums about whether his intellect matches his menacing reputation. To illustrate this enigma, picture Sidwell in his dimly lit lair, surrounded by high-tech gadgets and maps of Port Charles, meticulously plotting steps that seem designed for maximum drama but minimal payoff, perhaps drawing from a personal grudge rooted in a long-forgotten business deal, gone sour in exotic locales like Monte Carlo or Hong Kong. This backdrop adds a layer of intrigue, suggesting Sidwell's obsession with Sonny stems from a clash of empires, where old rivalries in the underworld fuel his convoluted revenge. Yet the execution falls flat, leaving audiences questioning if he's truly the formidable foe he's cracked up to be. At the core of Sidwell's puzzling agenda lies his decision to bribe Judge Eva Heron, ensuring Michael Corinthos secures full custody of young Wiley and Amelia Corinthos in a high-stakes family court battle. This maneuver initially sparked widespread confusion among viewers, as it wasn't immediately clear what Sidwell stood to gain from tipping the scales in Michael's favor. Delving deeper, one could envision Sidwell orchestrating this through shadowy intermediaries, perhaps funneling funds via offshore accounts disguised as charitable donations to the judge's pet cousins, like a fictional foundation for judicial reform that masks his influence. The intent seems geared toward framing Sonny as the puppet master behind the bribe, painting him as a desperate father willing to corrupt the system to benefit his son. But the plan's foundation crumbles under scrutiny, highlighting Sidwell's apparent oversight in crafting airtight deceptions, further complicating matters. The judge's direct knowledge of Sidwell's involvement creates a glaring vulnerability, as any investigation by the Port Charles Police Department would require concrete evidence of financial transactions linking back to Sonny. Even a drastic escalation, such as Sidwell eliminating the judge and pinning the murder on Sonny, feels like a precarious gamble with slim odds of success. Inventing a fresh twist, imagine Sidwell planting forged digital trails, like hacked emails from Sonny's coffee empire suggesting illicit payments, but without access to Sonny's fortified business ledgers guarded by loyal accountants. With mob tease proving Sonny's complicity becomes an insurmountable hurdle. This element underscores the plan's fragility, as Sidwell's reliance on assumptions rather than ironclad proof exposes his strategy as more theatrical bluff than strategic brilliance. In a revealing moment, Sidwell confided his bizarre blueprint to Marco Rios, outlining how he intends to frame Sonny for the lavish bribe and, in turn, shatter the mob boss's bond with his son Michael. This disclosure, shared perhaps during a tense standoff in an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town, with crates of smuggled goods as silent witnesses, confirms Sidwell's aim to exploit family fractures for maximum emotional damage. However, for a criminal of Sidwell's purported caliber, this plot feels underwhelmingly simplistic, lacking the sophistication expected from someone who navigates international intrigue. Adding inventive depth, Sidwell might have whispered details about psychological warfare tactics learned from past operations in volatile regions, aiming to isolate Sonny by turning his own blood against him. Yet the scheme's transparency to an underling like Marco hints at overconfidence or desperation. The stakes escalated when Sonny boldly kidnapped Marco, a move that only fueled Sidwell's resolve to dismantle the Corinthos empire. But pursuing revenge through such roundabout custody manipulations seems unlikely to yield significant results. Sonny's decisive action, executed with his signature blend of intimidation and precision, perhaps involving a midnight raid, with trusted enforcers put Sidwell on the defensive. Yet his response clings to this feeble family sabotage rather than a direct counterstrike. To enrich this dynamic, envision Sidwell retaliating by leaking anonymous tips to the media about Sonny's past indiscretions, hoping to amplify public scrutiny. But the core plan's inefficiency persists, suggesting Sidwell underestimates the resilience of Sonny's familial ties, forged through years of trials. Even if the bribery scandal surfaced, Michael holds a powerful wildcard in Willow Tate's shocking act of kidnapping baby Daisy, a revelation that could swing any custody reevaluation firmly in his direction if exposed. Michael, with his business acumen and protective instincts, would likely leverage this bombshell in court, backed by evidence like security footage from the incident, turning the tables on any attempt to discredit him. Moreover, Michael would never swallow the notion that Sonny, his fiercely loyal father, would jeopardize his grandchildren's stability by bribing a judge who might later betray them, inventing a new layer. Picture Michael receiving cryptic warnings via burner phones, piecing together Sidwell's involvement, and dismissing the frame job as amateurish, further eroding the villain's credibility. Sidwell's overall quest for vengeance against Sonny comes across as downright absurd, when considering alternative paths he could have taken, such as the near-fatal incident where he almost claimed Christina Corinthos Davis's life, only thwarted by Marco's timely intervention. That brush with tragedy, set against the backdrop of a high-speed chase through rain-slipped streets, highlights Sidwell's capacity for lethality, yet he opts for less decisive tactics. Similarly, his orchestration of the firebombing at Charlie's pub, carried out by Selena Wu's operatives with no intended casualties, baffles logic given the venue's usual bustle, adding creative flair. Perhaps Sidwell timed the attack based on faulty intelligence from double agents, intending it as a warning shot that spirals into unintended chaos, exposing the haphazard nature of his operations. The involvement of Selena Wu adds another layer of inexplicability, as her long-standing rapport with Sonny built on mutual respect. Amid their turf dealings over decadence makes her an unlikely pawn in Sidwell's game. Selena, a powerhouse with a network spanning underground poker rings and legitimate enterprises, isn't one to fold under threats without a fight, especially not by abandoning her hard-earned empire in Port Charles. Instead of fleeing, she could have allied with Sonny, confiding in him about Sidwell's coercion during a clandestine meeting at a neutral safe house, their combined forces promising a thrilling showdown. This missed opportunity, perhaps flavored with Selena's sharp wit and martial arts prowess in imagined joint operations, robs fans of what could have been an epic partnership, all sacrificed to Sidwell's short-sighted demands that led to the departure of such a captivating character. Ultimately, the narrative thread weaving Sidwell into Port Charles is riddled with inconsistencies, resembling a sieve more than a solid storyline, where Sonny consistently emerges dominant in their encounters, from verbal sparring in upscale restaurants to physical standoffs in dimly lit alleys. Sonny's street smarts and unyielding presence always give him the edge, bolstered by his coffee import facade hiding a web of informants. Carlo Rota brings a magnetic charm to Sidwell, infusing him with charisma that could spark romantic sparks, say, with the vivacious Lucy Coe, who deserves a dashing suitor amid her real estate ventures and fashion flair. Yet, Sidwell lacks the gravitas to truly challenge Sonny, joining a long line of antagonists from ruthless kingpins to vengeful exeswolf, all crumbled against the mobster's golden-hearted tenacity. In the end, Sidwell's efforts seem destined for failure, far from toppling Sonny or his sprawling domain.